call to order the meeting of the Planning Commission, regular scheduled meeting for June 16th. And I am Vice Chairman Alex Rice, and we have a quorum. Will everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We want to read and approval of the minutes of May 19th regularly scheduled meeting. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second from Mr. Sellers. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. And also read and approval of the minutes of the specialty called May 27th meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion from Seaborn, second from Sellers. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. Now I'll entertain public comments. We'll limit it to 3 minutes. If you could get up and state your name and your address, please.
James David Russell, it's 198 G Road, and I was needing to defer, and I just was wondering if you could bring it up so I can come back next.
Mr. Luthi?
Yeah, if you want, you can make a motion before the approval of the agenda to move that item up. That would be item.
Give it back, you mean?
To
What?
postpone?
Postpone it, deferred?
Well, no, he would like, so this is item 9A3,
Mhm.
and he would just like it discussed first, so he doesn't have to wait.
So you want to go ahead and discuss it first? Is what-
So we'd have to make a motion to
Amend the agenda.
amend the agenda to move item 9A3 up to 9A1, and then we would proceed
Okay.
to the rest of them.
That's what you want, sir?
I don't know what all that meant, I just need to do it to next month.
Oh,
And
you
he's
need,
saying he wants to
he
defer.
wants to defer it to next month.
Yes, he is seeking a deferral, but rather than making him wait through the discussion of 9A1 and 9A2.
Oh, we'll have to get to his agenda item to defer it?
Correct.
Okay.
So we're asking to move the agenda item up first, so we can give him his deferral and finish that agenda
Okay.
item, and then proceed with the rest of the agenda.
Okay. Entertain a motion if anyone would like to make a motion to amend the
That's what,
agenda.
do we have to do that now, or?
You'd have to wait until after the public comments has
Okay.
concluded.
Yeah.
We don't have an approval of the agenda. Thank you, sir. Any other public
We
comments?
should have, though.
Seeing none, we will move on. Yes, we don't have that in the agenda, to approve the agenda. I'll entertain a motion at this point to amend the agenda.
What is it we're deferring?
Well, right now,
A3.
we're just moving 9A3 to be discussed first, instead of
Item A3.
9A1 discussed first.
Oh, there, sorry, 91. Yeah, so I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Sellers. All right, all those in favor to move item A3, 9A3, to the first of the agenda, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. We'll go ahead and we'll do report from commissioner staff, and then
Yep.
I don't have a report. Do you?
No, I don't have any,
Any reports from the commissioners,
nothing.
staff?
Yeah, not on the June meeting, but on the July meeting, I'd just like to advise the commission. My child is going to be born here in the next 2 weeks, so I might not be in office as much. I still intend to be at the July meeting. I'll still be available via phone and email, but my office hours might be a little iffy here in the next coming weeks to a month. So I'd like to let you know about that. And then something that you'll be seeing, ideally, if everything goes as planned on the July meeting, will be revisions and amendments to our sign ordinance. I know that is kind of a hot issue right now. And now that I'm finishing with some stuff for the comprehensive plan, my attention will next be focused on the sign ordinance. And my goal is to get those revisions to you at the July meeting so they can be voted on and passed on to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen at their next meeting for them to discuss. And that will go through a first and second reading at the BOMA to get that ordinance passed, amending that sign ordinance. But this commission will get those amendments first, and you'll have a chance to make comments on those before it goes to the BOMA.
Do we have any timeline on scheduling some study sessions on the comprehensive plan?
This is the comprehensive plan that I'm working on is the one from the CPDC group. There were some edits that they needed made that were not made, so I'm finishing that for them. And then as far as study sessions go, is this study sessions for that comprehensive plan or study sessions for revising the 2040 comprehensive plan, or what are we looking for?
I think we were not revising, but trying to come up with a new comprehensive plan, which the other committee, I guess, was going to present. They've presented once to us, and we've not really made a study session since then.
I think part of our study session, we wanted to go across talk about the map. The map was also a big issue that we need to talk about, I think, as a group.
I think just general discussion around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that you would like, between this meeting and the July meeting, a study session in there for that document to be reviewed and presented prior to reviewing it and passing it to the BOMA?
I think so.
Yeah, I
We-
definitely want to be reviewing it. I mean, in my mind, we have an existing plan and two proposed plans, and maybe we merge all three of them into something.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little work, I think.
The plan we're operating now was meant to only be temporary and try and come up with an official comprehensive plan to move forward with.
Yeah, let me, tomorrow, I'll probably send out an email asking with some proposed tentative days. Again, my availability in the next coming weeks is going to be very limited, but I will definitely try and schedule at least one study session before the regularly scheduled July meeting for us to review and discuss that document before it is
Sounds good.
you're required to make recommendation and action on that item.
Oh, 1 second, sorry, taking some notes. All right. We'll move on to old business. Anybody know of any old business that needs to be brought up? All right, then we'll move to new business. And as the amended agenda, we'll move on to A3, 9A3, Russell G. Road, minor subdivision final plat. A proposed final plat to create 2 new lots of record located at 198 G Road, Coffee County tax map and parcel number map 091, parcel 013.00. The applicant is James David Russell. So if you want to come talk, Mr. Russell. Yes, sir.
I just need to defer this to next month.
Yeah.
All right. So
Do we need to make a motion for that, or, okay. So I'll make a motion to defer to next month.
motions? A second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes.
Thank you. Sir, anything you need from us in that meantime? Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, we will move on to 9A1, 1409, Old Estill Springs Minor Subdivision Final Plat. A proposed final plat to create 3 new lots of record located at 1409 Old Estill Springs Road. The applicant is Joe Demby. Mr. Demby, or?
Hey, good evening. Nicholas Northcutt with Northcutt Surveying. I'm just representing Mr. Dimby on this. Basically, the long and short of, there's this vacant lot on Old Estill Road, and it was the the perfect width to be able to divide into three. And the lots are all larger than the minimum size, all have water, sewer access, and would otherwise make excellent building lots. So Mr. Denby was seeking to divide that into three, and so we're seeking your approval on the 3-lot line division.
All right, thank you. Move on to, or do we have anybody from the public that wish to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to staff.
I'd like to ask if you do have any questions about what is contained in the staff report, you direct those to Mr. Worsham. I'll have to preclude myself from this one due to a possible conflict of interest, so I will not be able to discuss this project specifically.
All right.
Okay.
Do you have any particular comments, Mr. Worsham?
No, I agree with what Mr. Northcott said. It looks like these are perfect lots for division in this manner. They do comply with all our regulations.
Thank you.
All right, does anybody have any questions on this item?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved from Hall,
I'll second that.
second from Mr. Seaborn. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll move on to item 9A2, Underwood Carter Blake Road Minor Subdivision Final Plat, a proposed final plat to create 4 new lots of record located at 589 through 597 Carter Blake Road. The applicant is Jed Myers.
Great, Nicholas Northcutt again, representing Mr. Myers on this. What's going on here is this property is being divided into 4 so that it can be divided amongst family members. And so anyway, Mr. Myers is one of the family members, and he's one of the relatives of Ms. Underwood. So anyway, that was the purpose of dividing this into 4, was to split amongst these heirs. And so anyway, we've done the soils work, all the soils fly and everything. There's one lot that has an existing single wide residence on it, and it has its own septic system and everything, but the other lots have been approved for soil sites and all that stuff, and got back everything back from TDEC and whatnot, so they're seeking approval for this 4-lot minor.
All right, thank you. Anybody from the public who would wish to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to staff.
Yeah, I'd just like to advise the commission on this one that this is within our urban growth boundary. So since we are functioning as the municipal regional planning commission, and this is within the planning region assigned to this commission, being the urban growth boundary, this board does have purview over subdivisions, reviewing subdivisions within that planning boundary. So while this one is not in our municipal limits, it is in our UGB, so your approval is required for the subdivision.
So it's time for questions?
Yep.
So looking at this, is there access to that back lot?
Yes, there is a 50-foot ingress and egress access easement provided for that rear lot.
So I figured so.
Any other questions from commission? Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion from Seaborn, second from Mr. Comer. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. Moving on to item 9A4, Tricia Estates Phase 2 Major Subdivision Preliminary Plat. A proposed preliminary plat to create 20 new lots of record located at 0 Old Tullahoma Highway, and the applicant is Mr. Joe Demby.
Northcutt again. I'm representing Mr. Denby on this. And so what's going on with this is, I believe it was last year, we submitted a preliminary plat for what was the first 30 lots in this development. Now, due to the fact that there was only one means of ingress and egress in and out of the development, we had to limit it at 30 lots. However, Mr. Denby has been able to acquire a property that fronts on Cobb Road and was then able to put in the 20-foot fire lane across this property and then add the additional fire ingress and egress to fulfill that requirement. So we're coming in with this next phase. And I guess something else to note is that I think Mr. Denby has agreed to put up a barrier of some sort at the end of Stewart Street to prevent any construction equipment from coming in and out that way. It is his intention to use this 20-foot fire road as the construction entrance during the construction of the subdivision, so there'll be no disturbance on Stewart Street during the construction of the subdivision. And I will be available to answer any questions that y'all may have on this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Or, sorry, I'll take comments from the public. Seeing no comments, move on to staff.
Mr. Northcutt summed it up pretty well. The only, I guess, discussions that we had that were outside of the standard fare was that limited access, or restricted access on Stewart Street. I spoke with Eric and Butch on this one and Mr. Quick. And part of the concern was Stewart Street is a smaller right-of-way, and we felt that having the construction traffic going in and out would be a little more wear and tear than Stewart Street can handle. So a good compromise we decided was having that temporary, Jersey barrier or some other sort of barrier placed at the end of Stewart Street. That way to ensure no construction traffic could go down Stewart, and all of it will take access on that fire lane. I spoke to Nick Kimbrough. The fire lane is going to be, built to a standard with the right materials so it can handle the apparatus of the fire truck. There'll be a crash gate at either side once it's completed to satisfy the fire requirements. And then one other thing that Eric had discussed was they were going to make sure to take pictures of Stewart Street. That way, in case there was any accidental damage or any construction traffic did go through Stewart Street, we would be able to hold the applicant responsible for repairing that. But I believe that with the temporary barrier, that will be a non-issue. And that should help alleviate some of the concerns of the residents on Stewart Street by not having to make them deal with dump trucks going in and out.
Is that it for staff?
Yeah, correct.
Any comments from the commission?
I was just going to motion to approve subject staff comments.
Motion to approve, Mr. Hall.
Second.
Second from Mr. Sellers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. We will keep moving along. Section B, zoning map amendments. Item B1, 217-219 rezoning application. A request to rezone property located at 217/219 Big Springs Avenue from restricted industrial and warehousing I-1 to general C2. The applicant is Mr. Dan J. Markham. Would the applicant like to speak?
Is this work?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'd like to thank you for inviting me today. We really don't advocate that we have a zoning. It's just it's unclear about whether we need one or not. We have two buildings, one at 217 219 Big Springs and 114 Wilson. And there are multiple tenant buildings. And they've moved over the last 20 to 25 years from it being industrial to being non-industrial. And there's a question as to what is allowed in the multi-unit buildings, and as a result, we're unsure. And so we need some clarity. We were told by the planning commission that a real estate company couldn't move into the multi-building. And as a result, they're not coming to Tullahoma, or they won't be growing in Tullahoma. And yet, a decade ago, there was a real estate company that moved in there, and we didn't need zoning. Next door, there's a daycare center, and there's no zoning approval for a daycare center, but it hasn't been rezoned. So the question is, what is the goal of the planning commission?
Okay.
Hold on. Anybody care to
Staff
comment?
comments on this, because I'm sure he's looked at it for us.
Yes, so
About
this
the
property is
zoning
currently
regulation.
zoned I-1. However, in the comprehensive plan, it's shown as C2, as our commercial. As the applicant has stated, these are multi-tenant buildings. There's a variety of uses inside of there. I spoke with one of our building inspectors who had been in one of the buildings, and he confirmed, yeah, there's a bunch of different tenants, different uses utilizing different sections of the space, which aligns and would function fully permitted in our C2 zone, but does not comply with our R1 zone. Our R1 zone is pretty significantly limited to textile manufacturing and other forms.
You mean I-1?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you said R1.
Excuse me, I-1 and other forms of industry and
Right.
production, really, and assembly. How businesses were permitted prior is a moot point at this point. What we're running into now is when applicants are coming in and they're looking to move into the space, and they call our department and ask me what the zoning is. When I pull it up, it is currently zoned I-1, and that's created some frustrations with potential tenants. So I'd like to get this rezone pushed through to allow the applicant, primarily to use the structures as he is currently using and get them out of legal nonconforming into conforming with our zoning ordinance, but also make it clear to, like the applicant stated, to potential new businesses that there won't be any issues on a zoning level for them to come in and occupy that space.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Yeah.
You said it's on a comprehensive plan. By that, do you mean that it's on the current future use map?
Yes, the
Future land use map.
2011 future land use map,
Yeah.
the adopted variant, shows this area as.
That's what I thought I remembered.
Okay.
Is there, so do you have any need for light industrial use, and if so, would that be allowed in our C2?
I'm sorry.
The
Or
question,
do you expect to have any need for any kind of light industrial use that might, so first of all, what's allowed in C2? Is like light industrial allowed in C2?
Light industrial is. The things that would not be allowed is heavy material manufacturing, textile tanneries, large scale productions of textiles, clothing, vehicular manufacturing, metal workshops of large scale, which.
But Mr. Markham likes technology companies, so if somebody come in and want to do 3D printing in there and that sort of thing, that would be allowed, wouldn't it, in C2?
Yes, sir.
So I just want to make sure you're
yeah,
aware. that you're
it's
not
more
limiting
common
yourself.
that there would be somebody like Northwind,
Yeah,
who's in there, the old cow span,
right.
and they would have engineering that would be oriented with manufacturing, and things like the hypersonic wind tunnels
Right.
at AEDC, but they're engineering.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to limit you by doing this, and that doesn't sound like we are.
So does it seem like you want to move forward with
I'm
the C2?
compatible with whatever the proper zoning that the industrial board and the
Yeah.
planning commission would like to have it.
It sounds
not
like we're
initiating.
correcting
correcting
a
a
zoning
zoning
issue
issue.
that we've had in other places.
My second question is Mr. Markham having to pay a fee?
Yes, since the zone was applied, I have not found any record of, specific discussions when that I-1 zone was applied. I believe it was in the sweeping rezone to the area. So yes, he did have to pay for an application to rezone the property, simply because at one point, I believe that area did have manufacturing going on.
Yeah.
And so it was more compatible with the I-1 zone. But since Mr. Markham has made this a multi-tenant building, and to make it easier for him to run his business of
Right.
hosting that building, if it's more at this point with the C2 zone, with the multitude of uses that he would like to host.
We should have probably pointed that out a long time ago, so. All right,
I have no problem with paying it.
okay.
Gotcha.
I'll make a motion for approval then.
I think we have to go to public,
Oh, yeah, there's public comment.
ask for public comments, so.
Is that the 19th? Because I've gotten two notices. There was a notice of the meeting on the 16th, and I got a notice here about the 19th.
You're referring to public comment tonight, correct?
No, yeah, public comments for tonight.
Yeah, there's a public comment tonight on this.
Before
since
we
it's
vote
the agenda.
on the agenda
Is there
item.
I'm here for that reason. But
Yeah.
there was, this letter that I have was mailed, and it says June 19th.
What day is that?
That would be,
That'd be Friday.
Was that a
Is this-
typo? Was that a
That
typo
must
for
have
coming
been
to
a
the city?
typo.
Was
Those
that maybe-
letters are generated by iWorks, and they print them out, and they put in all the information.
So there's no meeting on the 19th?
No, sir.
no.
No,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
The only question is whether maybe that was an attempt to reference the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. It'll have to come to the BMA as well, correct?
Yes, sir. So after this month and the following month in July, there'll be a first and second reading. There will be separate information sent out for those meetings.
Okay.
Good deal.
Okay.
Any last comments, Mr. Markham?
No, that's all.
All right, thank you. All right, any comments from the public on this agenda item? Seeing none, do you have any more comments for staff?
No, sir.
Okay. So now I will,
I'll make a motion to approve.
okay, motion by Mr. Seaborn and
It's a motion to forward
motion
to
to
with a positive
send a favorable
recommendation.
recommendation
Yeah.
to the Board of Zone,
Yeah.
Board of Aldermen. And second for Mr. Comer. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. We will keep moving with item B2, 400-414, rezoning application, a request to rezone property located at 400/414 Big Springs Avenue from restricted industrial and warehousing I-1 to general commercial C2. The applicant is again Mr. Markham.
Same
Same
thing.
issue.
Yeah, same thing.
Same
right,
thing?
Two buildings.
Gotcha. All right. So anything else you'd like to add? Okay. I'll open it for public comment. Seeing none, staff comments?
This is the same discussion that we just had on the prior one. He owns
It's just
two
building
buildings on
immediately
Big
adjacent,
Springs.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And this one, part of the reason why, I just want to give a little bit of background, part of the reason why this was brought to my attention is there was a, kind of like a not really a rehabilitation center, but an activity center for, I believe, adults with Alzheimer's or other developmental or mental disabilities called Abe's Garden that was looking to move into this building. They ran into some roadblocks because of this zoning. And so that's what spurred this whole discussion to try and get that resolved so we could allow them to move in and utilize the space. So that business has been, I've taken care of that one, but in doing that, we needed to bring this to your attention and get this rezoned.
Gotcha. All right. Any comments?
Did you have a public?
I already brought it up for public
Okay.
comment.
Okay.
So
Yeah, no.
any motion?
I'll make a motion to send to the BMA with favorable recommendation.
Motion from Mayor Seaborn?
Second.
Second from Mr. Comer? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. We will move on to item 8B3. Rezoning Samuel, sorry if I mispronounce this, Kehu? Rezoning application. A request to rezone property located at 501 South Jackson Street and 105 West Volney Street from neighborhood commercial C2 to central commercial C1. Applicant is Susan Baker.
Hi, I'm representing Mr. Kehoe. He bought the two properties right there beside the 7-Eleven. They're currently zoned C2, and they're currently zoned C1, or we're changing it. I'm confused, one of the two.
I think it's C2.
They're C2
right?
currently.
They're C2 going to C1. But the way it stands right now, with it being a corner lot, you have a 35-foot setback on the side, and it being a corner, that takes 35 off the front, 35 off the side, and then a 15-foot off the side, which would only leave you 30 feet to build something on. So that's why we would like to have it changed. And also, he bought the back lot, and you had to occupy the house within a year, and the house was too bad, so he went ahead and tore it down. But it's the same thing on that in case someone wanted to put a building. So for highest and best use, I feel like it needs to go to
C1.
C1, yes. It's very confusing.
That's okay.
Sorry.
All right. Any other comments?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, open it for public comments. Seeing none, we'll move to staff comments.
So this property is before you for a rezone. It's two properties, but since they are shown on the tax map as one, they're combined for tax purposes, but they are still two separate parcels. That's why there's two applications that you'll see there, one for each parcel. This one is right next to the 7-Eleven, but as the applicant said, it's currently zoned C2. Once all of the setbacks are applied to this lot, and because it's a corner lot, it renders the lot virtually unbuildable. I've had quite a few phone calls and agents inquiring about this lot, potential businesses, because it is in a very prime location right next to 7-Eleven off of Jackson at that corner there. But once we begin to go through the setbacks, they tend to lose interest because of the difficulty to develop on it and comply with those setbacks. But once it's rezoned to C1, the setbacks are significantly less. I believe they'll go all the way down to only 5 feet, which would be more appropriate for kind of a very dense and commercially viable location like that, instead of requiring 35 foot and 25 foot and 15 feet and eating up most of the lot with setbacks. So by rezoning that, we will restore the commercial viability to that lot. We may finally get to see something go in next to that 7-Eleven. I know originally the 7-Eleven was going to purchase that lot, and it was going to be all one parcel there owned by 7-Eleven, but they did not buy that parcel, so it is just sat vacant. After the house was demoed, the rear lot sat vacant as well. And due to those setbacks, it's been very difficult to get any commercial development in there. But I feel once this is rezoned, I don't think it'll be very long before you'll see a site plan come in for that lot.
Gotcha.
I'm assuming that one of the reasons it was C2 to begin with is because there were houses on it, and that's allowable in C2.
No, houses are not permitted in C2.
So it got zoned with the houses still on it?
Correct.
Like a blanket zoning request from back there.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
What are the setbacks in C2 and C1?
Yeah, I can pull that up for you. So the setbacks that are required for C2, which is what it is currently zoned under, is a 35-foot front setback, a 10-foot side setback, and a 10-foot rear setback. Because this is a corner lot, you have to take 35 feet off of Jackson and 35 feet off of Volney, which eliminates almost the entirety of the lot up against Jackson, and it doesn't really allow you any buildable area. Rezoning it to C1, the front setback would become 5 feet, so that'd be a 5-foot setback from Jackson and a 5-foot setback from Volney, and the side setbacks there are no side setbacks in C1. So they would be able to utilize the entirety of the lot versus now where over 60% of the lot is eaten by the setbacks.
Gotcha.
Yeah, makes sense.
Any comments from staff or commission? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to send favorable recommendation to BOMA.
Motion from Mr. Hall, second from Mr. Sellers. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right, move on to item B4, 113-115, David Allen Drive rezoning application, a request to rezone property located at 113-115, David Allen Drive from agricultural to low-density residential R1. Applicant is David Allen Kraus.
Good evening. Nicholas Northcutt again. I think it's David Klaus is the applicant.
With an L?
But
David
this
Allen.
road, to familiarize y'all, is, David Allen Drive is right off of Grosh Street. So it's, for whatever reason, this one portion of his property was zoned agricultural. And so he's got another, I think 20 acres or more, 20 to 25 acres left of this property. And all of it was zoned R1, but for some reason, this little portion of land, which happened to be isolated by a private drive called Christopher Trace, for whatever reason was zoned agricultural. And so he is seeking to get it, and it's only like maybe a 3-acre portion of land. And so he's seeking to get that zoned R1 so that his daughter can build a house on it.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any public comment on this? Seeing none, we'll move to staff comment.
Yeah. Mr. Northcutt summed it up pretty nicely. I drove out there to put the sign on the property, but also just to look at it. I had spoke with the applicant a couple times prior to this, and it is kind of odd that, he owns the majority of the property as you go down David Allen Drive, and this is kind of a private road, and you're inside of surrounded by properties that he also owns, but yeah, this one little section is zoned agricultural. And so while everything else is R1, this is the last piece that he'd like to put a house on for his child, so that needs to be rezoned to R1 instead of agricultural. I've looked at it. It's so small. I mean, it'd be really non-viable for any commercial farming use or any agricultural use, really. The only, practical use for this lot would be to use it for residential uses.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to send a favorable recommendation.
Motion approved to send the board with favorable recommendation. Start to get it out.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Motion from Sellers, second from Hall. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. We'll move on to section C, site plans. C1 is Curl Airport Hangar site plan. A site plan to construct a new airport hangar located at to be determined Northwest Taxiway Lane. The applicant is Greg Curl. Mr. Curl.
I'm Kenny Sadler. I'll represent Mr. Curl. I don't see the owners here, so I did the engineering for this development, and this is the section of hangars there that you access off of Ledford Mill Road. I think there's 3 there now, and this is going to be the 4th in that little quad there. So it's a 10,000 square foot hangar. I think we've worked through all the water and sewer and stormwater issues there, and I'll answer any questions you have.
Thank you, sir. All right. Open it for public comment. Seeing none, we'll move to staff comments.
Yeah, this is a site plan, and Mr. Sadler said just for a single hangar. The location where the hangar is going, the site's already been, there's already 3 other hangars there. The roadway's already in. This is just to add the hangar. When this was being put in, there was one small comment from Scott St. John and Jim that there was they needed some extra grading for a swale to ensure that water did not flow into an area where it was not supposed to. The engineer replied with an updated site plan that does have that swale, and I spoke to Scott and Jim, made sure that swale is compliant, and it does what it's intended to do and directs the water where it needs to go. So outside of that, everything else in the site plan is compliant and good to go.
Good deal. All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mayor Seaborn. Second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Sellers. Any comment? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. Item C2, 217 Southeast Atlantic Street Tower Modification. A tower modification to add an extension to the cell tower located at 217 Southeast Atlantic Street by adding a 21-foot height extension to the tower. The applicant is Brandy Martin Skytel Contractors. Applicant present. Seeing no applicant.
She requested
The applicant is out of state
Okay.
and would like to have appeared virtually. I don't know if we have a way to do that. We'll have to look at that in the future for some of these applicants that are coming in from out of state or from other corporate offices that are unable
Okay.
to attend the meetings. So I'll talk to our IT department about what we can do to allow a virtual representative.
Is that a permissible thing? Is that legal in state Tennessee? Okay.
Okay.
So on this one specifically, since this is not a subdivision or a site plan or anything, I believe we can proceed potentially without the applicant present if there are not too many questions. This is just a permit for a tower modification. There's a cell tower located at 217 Southeast Atlantic. They need to add 21 feet to the top of that cell tower to affix some new antennas. So there's 2 permits associated with this. There's one to extend the tower, which needs planning commission approval, and then there's one to add the antenna, which does not. But the subsequent permit, the extra antenna, needs the height extension, so they have something to mount them onto. So once this is approved, then the other permit will be approved, and they'll be able to add those, I believe they're Verizon cell antennas onto that tower.
So I guess I just have 2 questions there. I'm pretty sure, so it doesn't look like it's anywhere near the airport zone, so we don't have any issues with the airport. Any safety concern with the height? Looks like there's some space around the property. Will it, if it did happen to fall, will it be contained within the property it's on?
Yes, and while it's not included in your application, we received about a 40-page structural analysis and then a 60-page safety analysis for this tower. So we've got, staff has received all the documentation for this expansion. I didn't want to print you out 100 pages of structural analysis for a cell tower.
Third question is, will my cell phone reception improve?
Hopefully. These are, from what I've seen, again, I'm not a cell site engineer, but from looking at it, there's quite a few new antennae going on here. Not just replacing old ones. These are going to be added infrastructure. So if you've got Verizon, you should get a little better service.
Good deal. Like that.
Who doesn't?
All right. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion from Hall, second from Sellers. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Move on to item C3, Curl Flowertown Road Apartment Site Plan, a modification to an approved site plan to change the interior of a building from 9 apartments to 13 apartments located at 106 Flowertown Road. The applicant is Curl Properties. So applicant present. Okay. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, I'll move to staff comment.
Yeah, so for this one, this is, kind of a technicality. This site plan has already been approved, already went through the process. It got approved from DAC and Planning Commission. However, the applicant would like to change the interior of the building only. And they are changing it from being 9 units to 13 units. But since they are increasing the density by adding more dwelling units, that is something that the DAC cannot determine to be a minor modification. It has to be a major modification, and those major modifications do have to be approved by the Planning Commission. So really all we are doing today is approving them to change the interior from 9 units to 13 units. The outside site will stay exactly the same as the site plan that's already been approved. We're only touching, or the applicant is only requesting to alter the interior of the building.
Does that have any impact on the parking availability?
It does, but the parkings that they originally provided were in excess of what was required, so when this went to 13 units, there's still enough parking.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
From Seaborn, second from Comer. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. That's the last item on our agenda. Next meeting will be July 21st, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. I'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting and then move on to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Call to order. Read and approval of the minutes of May 19th. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Hall, second from Seaborn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, then no old business, no new business. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Good job.
Good job, yeah.